In the fall of 1976, in a small town called Circleville, Ohio, there was a school bus driver named Mary Calypsy. And, well, she opened a letter. No return address, no signature, just a message written in block letters. Stay away from the superintendent. I know where you live. At first, sounds like a threat, but then more letters start showing up. Not just to her, to her husband, to her coworkers, to people across town. In the letters, they don't just accuse, they expose. There was affair, secrets, private details that were never meant to, well, leave closed doors. Within months, Circleville wasn't a town anymore. It was a pressure cooker. And eventually, someone ended up dead. And that's where most people don't realize. Circleville wasn't the beginning. It wasn't even the first time something like this happened. Because decades earlier, in another small American town, the same thing had already begun. Letters, secrets, fear, and a question nobody could answer. Who knew everything? Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Yore Town Podcast. The voice you're hearing, it's me, it's Matt, it's Beard Laws, and joining me, as always, the beautiful, the freshly lip-glossed Dun-Dun Queen, Meg.
Hey.
Saw you over there. I'm doing the killer intro, and you're just over there just making those lips look so glossy and beautiful.
It's actually lip oil.
Lip oil?
Yeah.
What's the difference between lip oil and lip gloss?
Lip gloss sits on the lips. Lip oil is like a nutrient for you.
Hydrating them lips?
Yeah.
Interesting.
This crazy weather is, doing a number on the skin.
Trust me. I know. I have some skin, but a lot of hair. But either way, I saw you kind of looking at me and you were like, Circleville, I think we already did it. And you were getting some vibes. But did you know that before Circleville, there was another small town? Circleville, kind of small town. But that's like the story that everybody knows. And we actually did an episode on it, if I remember. I'll put the episode right here. But who knows if I'll remember. And especially now that the Yore Town Podcast is on its own YouTube. We shifted it from the Beard Laws studio to the Beard Laws Network. And we're like, no. Yore Town's so cool, it needs its own YouTube. So we resurrected the old YouTube. So you guys can go to youtube.com/Yore Town if you're listening to this only and see me. We don't see Meg yet because we're quite not at our goal of, I don't even remember the goal. I don't know. Mostly we just need to make more money than she makes in a year at her job, and she'll do this full time. That seems fair, right?
Sure.
Can you imagine? I don't work at the school no more. I'm just a professional podcaster. Boy, would that be the life. But you'd still have to play mom taxi for a little while longer.
Yeah.
Is what it is. It's been a busy week. We should be experiencing nicer spring weather, maybe some kind of green grass, be able to go out and just touch some grass with our bare feet. But no, we woke up with another whiteout and just snow everywhere, thankfully.
Shocker.
Thankfully, at least it did melt into the maple trees. Was a snow like this? Is this good for the maple biz or?
Yeah.
Yeah? Good.
When it gets cold at night, it's good for it.
Well, then
it gets cold at night, gets warmer during the day, then the sap runs.
Well, it should be a pretty good sap season, I would imagine, but I don't really know. I just know that it's a family business for Meg, and I would love some more maple syrup because turns out I like some maple, whether it's maple bourbon wings or what was those wings we had the other day? Maple jalapeno.
Got some maple fudge.
Maple fudge. If you guys haven't checked out Evan's Hearth, this isn't, a sponsored segment or whatever, but we have this addiction to it, I think. Like anytime we drive by there and they're open, we got to swing in.
It's the fish tanks.
They're now serving breakfast. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, when we drove by for the tournament this weekend, I noticed they were open. I thought it was weird. And then we walked in today in the front door, and behind the sign was a big, one of those signs you put out that's chalked.
Yeah.
And it said now serving breakfast. So that's good for pasta.
Yeah.
Love it. Brooke and Elijah doing big things. But yeah. Crazy week, and this is a crazy story. I don't know. You ready to just jump into this, or
let's do it?
Do you want to mention the friends of the show, or do we just go with it?
You can mention them.
Oh, I can. All right. Well,
yeah.
I thought maybe you would this time, but I'll do Live Bearded because if you guys want, in my opinion, the best beard products, and I even used the utility spray today, and Meg was like, "Boy, you smelling good."
I do like the spray. It's different.
It's different, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're just out here looking out for all of us dudes out there. Want us to smell good and impress the wife. Did I impress the wife?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Did you know that Live Beard has a 365-day guarantee that if you're not happy, they will make it right? Thankfully, I've been happy every time.
I do like it, though.
It's good.
I like cologne. You're not a big cologne wearer.
Not a big cologne wearer. And they don't even call it a cologne. It's just a utility spray. Maybe
like it.
Maybe just get done with the gym. Place that I've heard of, never been, but it would have been helpful for the oldest today. Got done a basketball tournament, was so self-conscious about them stinky feet. Could have, instead of spraying with perfume, could have just used a quick utility spray.
Yeah. The old sneakers are not doing so hot.
I can relate. I'm still wearing basketball shoes that I bought in 2013, and they got a little stank to them, but
they've had some use.
Yeah. So make sure you guys check it out, livebearded.com. Use code BEARDLAW, save yourself some money. Any scents you recommend?
I still like that one.
What is the one?
The Americana.
That's pretty good. That's the bar soap I'm using right now, too.
Yeah, I think that's still my favorite.
I've been digging the 1880 lately.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. I like that one, too.
I'm fairly confident that if we were to put out a poll, and by we, I'm not French, I mean Live Bearded, and they were to pull all the wives, I think 1880 would be the most popular. So if you guys want, impress yourself, impress the wife, or if you don't have a wife, just impress some ladies. Where you go to Ebbins Hearth or a local bar, get them. Get American, get 1880. Don't
That's my vote. Sticking to it.
Sticking to it. But either way, check them out. Livebearded.com. Use code BeardLaws. We've been hitting up the Squatch Juice as well. SquatchJuice.com/BeardLaws. Stay hydrated, stay focused, stay energized. I've been feeling good. Meg likes the lemonade. I'm a big fan of whatever. SquatchJuice.com/BeardLaws. All right. We finally get into this. If you're still here, anybody listening, we appreciate you. Don't we?
It's still the watermelon that I like.
Watermelon?
You say the wrong one every time.
I thought you liked lemonade.
I do, but I like the watermelon the most.
Okay, it's watermelon. That's
the lemonade I can't really drink that much.
Oh, the acid.
Reflux problem.
Squash Juice, figure out the acid reflux problem that the wife's having, and we're going to be good to go.
Less citrus.
Watermelon.
Maybe some other flavors like peach or, I don't know, cranberry. Grape.
Grape would be cool. Black cherry. Or what was it one?
I just love anything cherry.
Anything cherry. We're just throwing out some feelers for you. Just throwing out some feelers. Mm-hmm. All right. I feel like we need to get into this.
Don't mix mango with any of them.
Yeah. Well, that's not true. I like the...
For my
for
personal... You. I was giving suggestions. Those are
on the suggestion train. No more mango. We already got one. Pineapple mango.
Yeah.
Anyways. I feel like we're 8.5 minutes in. Let's get into the episode.
You got me sidetracked.
Well, that's okay. We're sidetrackers. Speaking of tracks, well, I got nothing. But I feel like to understand how something like this and these letters could actually happen, let's understand the environment, right? Right?
Mm-hmm.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you were a little left, and I'm going right.
I'm listening.
Okay. This wasn't about letters. It was about where those letters landed. Early 1900s America, especially in Pennsylvania, Ohio, and other rural places like the Midwest, they were all built on tight communities. I mean, we're talking towns where church attendance was optional, or wasn't optional, sorry, it was expected. Social circles, they overlapped constantly. Privacy, it barely existed. But here's a key detail that I don't want you to miss, Meg. You ready? Reputation wasn't just social. It was actually survival at this time, because if your name got damaged, you'd probably lose your business. You could be pushed out of the community and all the community events, and your family could carry that stain for generations. Which, I mean, even to this day, I feel like still a little bit true, right? You know, your name gets tarnished, and there's probably much less local businesses, and you're getting more and more kind of and bigger businesses moving into smaller towns. But at the end of the day, if you own a local business and your name gets tarnished, see you later.
I feel like we've seen that around.
We definitely
in those areas.
Definitely have. You hate to see it, but what's the old saying? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that, a lot of people then, probably more then than now, They kept secrets, and not small ones. The big real ones. Affairs, finance issues, personal scandals, quiet little grubs. I feel like now people just run to the old text message and social media to comment on said things. But everyone operated under the same, let's go with unwritten rule. We don't talk about it until someone decides that maybe we do talk about it. Long before Circleville, remember doing the episode on Circleville? It's pretty crazy, right? But before then, there were documented cases of what newspapers at the time called poison pen letters. PPL. It's kind of a cool name, right?
Yeah.
When it go newspapers, they had to use their brains. They didn't just rely on Chat GPT for everything, right? One of the earliest well-documented wave, it actually hit parts of Pennsylvania and the Midwest in the 1910s and 1920s. And these weren't just isolated incidences. Local newspapers, including archives from places like the Pittsburgh Press and the Philadelphia Inquirer, reported the following, Meg. Anonymous letters accusing women of affairs. You got to think, 1900s, women having affairs? It's a lot different than these days, where women have affairs and then just take all the money from the men and support and alimony and stuff. They were treated much differently, right? Letters they sent to employers about workers' behaviors. Messages mailed to spouses revealing these little teeny tiny secrets. But here's the important part. Many of these accusations, they weren't false. They were so true, which changes pretty much everything, because now we're not talking about, just like random falsified harassment like you might see on the Book of Faces. We're actually talking about someone with access, observation, patience. One of these actual documented cases was from Pennsylvania. There was a married woman who actually received multiple letters accusing her of her infidelity. Nowadays, they're gonna make rap songs about her. But at first, she naturally denied everything. But when her husband confronted her with specific details that actually came from these letters, well, she had a different story. And the old marriage collapsed. And remember, this is the early 1900s and stuff, where marriages, you stuck through it. It's not like these days where, there's like a crazy percentage of divorce where people just do stupid stuff and that never lasts.
So the letters were sent to the husband?
The letters were sent
to her.
To her with a lot of these details. And obviously, the husband finds out, confronts, denial. Well, he's got some information now. An old marriage doesn't work out. But then you're like, back then especially, small town gossip, and, a lot of times, whether it's then or now, when things get ugly in a relationship, there's a lot of friends, there's a lot of community members. People, they start to pick sides, say, she shouldn't have done that, or, well, she did it because he's a jerk. They start to pick sides. Let's slow it down a little bit. All right. Not that we're going like super fast, but this is where things get really interesting, Meg. Because who writes something like this? Well, modern criminal psychology, they came up with a little term for it. Do you know what the term is? Do you have any guesses what this term is? I like the name of it. Poison pen syndrome. It's not officially like one of those clinical diagnoses, but it's widely studied behavior. Poison pen syndrome. I feel like there's a lot of people that have poison pen syndrome, but maybe it's poison keyboard syndrome or poison thumb syndrome, where they just get what?
I liked my name.
What was it again?
Negative Nancy notes.
Ooh, triple N. Maybe that's a whole new podcast we come up with.
What do they call them? Keyboard warriors.
Warriors, yeah. Way tougher than, seeing a group of Jeep owners drinking almond milk and strutting through a parking lot. Anyways, researchers, they started to identify some patterns. The writer often feels powerless in real life. They gain control by manipulating others anonymously. They often justify their actions as, air quotes, revealing the truth. But here's where things get a little bit darker, Meg. In many cases, the writer isn't just exposing secrets. They're just escalating it. They start with the old accusations, right? Then they moved to threats, and then sometimes direct attempts to destroy lives. It's pretty crazy. But again, there's no accountability to the people writing it, and they feel powerless in the real life. That's got to be like a weird thrill, or I don't know the right word that I'm looking for, but it's got to be pretty addicting to these people, right?
Yeah. You see it a lot nowadays.
On social media?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Especially with tragic events.
Yeah. Thankfully, I don't get on social media that much, which is weird, being, somebody that creates content. I don't get on the personal stuff. I don't want to see it because there's too many people that are very comfortable sitting behind a phone and typing away. 1900s, sure. And it's crazy to me the amount of people that are very comfortable saying comments like this that are business owners or professionals or people in a very powerful position. Just careless. I don't get it. But that's their problem, not mine. But there's with all this going on, there was documented cases from this era. And obviously letters, they started to lead to divorces, job loss, public shaming, and physical confrontations. Almost sounds like they're at a youth hockey event, right? But a little more extreme and less funny, some of these situations started to lead into suicides. Just the pure embarrassment. And again, when you took those vows and you got married in older times, like, you stuck together no matter what, and you were as faithful as you could be. But when these letters started to come out, maybe they weren't as faithful as kind of our education or our history thinks that they were.
Right.
These days, everybody's getting called out on it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go ahead and connect this case to the one that people know. Circleville, Ohio. We've talked about it. You've probably heard about it. And the letters began targeting Mary Gillespie, which she was a school bus driver. The accusations was that she was having an affair with the school superintendent, Gordon Massey. The old bus driver superintendent, you don't see that one played out, right? Usually a little secretary or maybe a TA. Bus driver, though, huh? Interesting. Things must be different in Ohio. The letters, though, they didn't stop with her. They were sent to the husband, Ron, the superintendent, and other community members. And just like the earlier cases, the details were pretty specific. They weren't rumors. They weren't guesses. They were specific. Eventually, the situation spiraled. Ron Gillespie, he started receiving threatening calls. One night, he left the house with a gun and is later found dead in his truck. The official ruling? Accidental death. But here's the problem. He'd been drinking, yeah, but the circumstances, they didn't sit right with many people in the letters. Even after all of that tragedy, they didn't stop. And then came one of the most famous moments in the case. Mary Gillespie is driving her bus route. Because the wheels on the bus go what, Meg?
Round and round.
Yeah, and the kids go...
Up and down.
Kids go up and down?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I thought, the babies went wham, 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 right? And windshield wipers went swoosh, swoosh, swoosh.
Yeah.
Well, she's driving that bus.
Brushed up on that.
It's been a long time since I've thought about that. Well, she's driving that bus route and she notices a sign. It was a pretty big sign. And it opened up her eyes. It was a public sign. And it was accusing her of the affair. She pulls over. She takes the sign down, and behind it, there was a box, Meg. Guess what was in the box? A gun, set up as a trap. Authorities later confirmed that the gun was rigged. It was meant to fire if anybody touched the sign. Now, this isn't just harassment anymore. It's attempted murder. Eventually, suspicion fell on one man named Paul Fresher. He was the brother-in-law of Mary, divorced from her sister, known to have conflicts with the family. Police, they link him to the booby trap. It's kind of a funny name, right? How do you think they came up with that? Booby trap.
I don't know, but that's the second time today I've heard it.
Really? Interesting. Do you think we should ask my phone how they came up with booby trap?
Yeah.
What is the origin of the term booby trap? The term booby trap originated in the 19th century to describe childish pranks derived from booby, a fool or a stupid person.
Oh.
To describe a trick that catches someone foolish. It evolved from schoolboy pranks in the 1830s into a military term for hidden explosive devices during World War I. So everything booby is a Spanish word from bobo, meaning stupid, fool, or idiot. But it has then evolved into a term for body parts.
People are immature.
I know, but how did something that... I don't know.
Well, I mean, even when we were young, people used to say, quit being a boob.
True. Yeah.
Like, quit being dumb.
Yeah. We're an educational show.
You know.
Yeah.
It's kind of faded out, though. I mean, we used to hear it a lot.
A lot of terms that were meant to be phased out since we were kids. And that's how you know I think you're old. Right? When terms... Because think about what our parents heard. And then our grandparents heard. And some of the things that I know my grandparents would say... You were like, oh, and when we were kids, we're like, oh, I don't think you should say that anymore. And now if they were saying some of them things, oof. That's how we know we're old. When terms we said as kids, phased out.
Yeah.
Not appropriate.
Correct.
We need to start saying these terms and saying it in front of our kids and see how they react. Sure, we'll embarrass them. We're pretty good at that. But either way.
It's really fun, though.
It is pretty fun. The old brother-in-law, he's arrested. Booby trap box. Tried, convicted, sentenced to prison, and case closed, right?
I mean, I guess not.
Not even close, because after Paul is in prison, guess what kept coming, Meg?
The letters.
The letters. They were the same style, the same tone, the same knowledge, even letters sent directly to authorities that were saying, hey, Paul's not the writer, which raised a pretty big question that still hasn't been answered. If he's in prison, who's writing the letters? Any guesses?
No, I don't have a guess.
It's wild, right?
Yeah.
All right. Let's step back for a second.
So if they have the letters, does this guy get out now? Or do they think it's multiple people?
I know the answers. I can't answer them, but
I'm going to guess it's not if it's the same handwriting.
Okay. And you're asking the question that hopefully the listeners are as well in the same thought pattern.
Okay.
Step back for a second, all right? Let's look at the pattern.
Sheesh, okay, I will.
Sheesh. Step back from that ledge, my friend.
Okay, I'm back.
Look at the pattern. Early 1900s anonymous letters exposing secrets. Let's go to the mid-1900s. Repeated poison pen cases all across small towns. 1970s, Circleville explodes into national attention. Different places, different people, same behavior, same structure, same outcome. The whole goal was fear, division, destruction. But here's the uncomfortable truth. We like to think these stories are old, that they belong to a whole nother time. Circleville in the 70s, it's first time it's ever happened. It's been happening since the early 1900s, reportingly. So they belong to another time, but the method never went away. It just evolved. Now I'm saying the same writer wasn't in the 1900s and the 1970s. Okay? I'm just saying that the pattern in this whole thing, maybe the Circleville was like the copycat of what's been said, right?
Right.
But today, we don't need paper. We don't need stamps. We don't need handwriting because we have anonymous accounts, fake profiles, and messages that are sent instantly. They don't have to go through the mail. Just like those letters, the most dangerous ones still come from someone who knows a little bit too much. Right? Let's dive a little bit deeper because other real poison pen. These cases, they ended up deadly, just like Circleville. And we got a little bit more theories behind Circleville. Because, well, we could have easily just said, well, that's the end of part one. But I feel like we should keep going.
Okay.
Or should we stop?
Let's keep going.
Let's keep going?
Yeah.
Okay. How about we go to a real case in England? What do you think about that?
Okay.
There was a small village in England called Great Wirely. Let's go with that. At first, it wasn't letters. It was anonymous accusations and mutilations of animals. But then came the written threats. Accusations, anonymous notes, fear spreading through the town. There was a man named George Idalgi who was accused, convicted, sent to prison. Just like we've heard before, but here's the twist. Many people later believed he was completely innocent, meaning someone else was behind it the entire time, but they were never caught. And again, There was a pattern. Anonymous accusations, public fear, wrong person blamed, real culprit disappears. Sound a little familiar, Meg?
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about something that doesn't get enough attention. These letters don't just ruin reputations. They actually got real people killed.
Right.
Right? There's also another one from archive reports from the early 20th century show multiple cases where individuals received repeated anonymous letters accused of pretty immoral behavior and threatened with public exposure. And eventually, more people took their own lives. In several documented incidences, victims were women accused of affairs, letters that were sent to family members and employers. Social pressure just became unbearable. And this is something we don't like to talk about. The letters, they didn't need to be physically violent. The damage was psychological and pretty devastating, huh? Every major case had curiosity, fear, public exposure, isolation, collapse. It's not random. It's a system, right? Let's circle back to Circleville, because this is where things start to fall apart, right? Paul, prison. But the letters keep going. Same handwriting style, same tone, same insider knowledge. That alone should have stopped everything. But it didn't. Experts at the time claimed that the handwriting matched Paul. But later reviews suggested something kind of troubling, Meg. The letters, they were written in block style, making comparison unreliable. Some believe the writer intentionally disguised their handwriting, but others argued the match was inconclusive at best. Block style. Why is block style so sneaky? Just because it's the same style, like anybody could repeat it, so it's like kind of untraceable?
Maybe.
I'm guessing.
Yeah, probably.
Well, a lot of people thought that the motive didn't fully fit, because if Paul was the writer, why continue sending letters while he was imprisoned? What would he gain? There's no leverage, there's no control, there's no audience. Unless he wasn't working alone. Kind of like Meg said, huh? There's a theory that just doesn't go away. And once you hear it, it sticks. Instead of one person, there were several. Think about it. Multiple people in a small town, all aware of secrets. They all have motives. What if one person started it and other people just joined in?
Right.
And the chaos just fed itself. Right? Like you're at a Ponderosa. Rest in peace. I think they're gone, right? You don't have a single suspect, but you have something much worse. You got a network. So here's why this theory works, Meg, because why the letters, they covered so many people, why they continued their, to go after, the arrest, why the tone sometimes shifted, and most importantly, why nobody was ever definitively caught. But here's the part that changes how you see all of this, Meg. The letters weren't the weapon. You know what it was? The information. The letters, they were just the delivery system. Because once information's out, guess what? You can't take it back. And in a small town, it spreads quickly, doesn't it? That's the point. That's everything, right? And we like to think of these cases as history, old stories, different time. But the truth, they never ended. They just evolved. Because let's replace the letters with anonymous social media accounts, fake profiles, screenshot leaks, group chats. It's the same damn formula. Expose, spread, destroy. Just like before, the most effective attacks come from people who know you. And there's a reason that these methods, they just keep showing up, because it taps into three things humans can't escape: fear of exposure, fear of judgment, and loss of control. All things Teddy Swims probably sings about. Once they're triggered, though, people tend to unravel pretty quickly, much faster than just a physical threat, because this isn't about survival, it's about identity. So now we circle back to the question I personally feel started it all. Who was writing the letters, Meg? Was it one person with too much time and knowledge? Someone close hiding in plain sight? Or multiple people feeding off the chaos? Or was it maybe something even simpler?
Town bullies.
You think it was like a group?
I do.
What if it was a bunch of nuns that just...
What do they call them? Not the nuns, but like biddies in the beauty shop.
People that just couldn't take none of your business for an answer. See what I did there? I was trying to find the joke in there, and it just came out a little bit. But what I feel like there's still in all these small towns is just group of, I don't know if they're just bored, sad, individuals that just feed off causing chaos in these small towns. But what if it wasn't about who wrote them? What if the real story is how easy it really is to destroy everything once the truth got out? Because at the end of the day, the letters didn't create the secrets. They just revealed them. And once that happened, the damage didn't come from the writer. It came from the people who reacted to it. The suspicion, the accusations, the breakdown of trust. That's what destroyed the town, didn't it? Yeah. If you made it this far, you already know this wasn't a story about letters. It was a story about people, about secrets, about how fragile everything really is when the truth gets dragged into the light. And maybe the scariest part of all is realizing this didn't disappear. It just changed form. So the next time you see something online, maybe a message, a post, an accusation, I want you to ask yourself, is this really any different? You gonna think a little differently now that you're online? Yeah? Good.
I'm not a bully.
I never said you were. I'm not accusing you of anything. That's all we got. Do it again next week?
Yeah.
We got some stuff to do. That was good, right?
Yeah. I definitely think it was more than one person, though.
So when we did the Circleville stuff, like, I just thought it was the brother-in-law. It was Paul. The letters kept coming, and I was just like, well, maybe he, sent a bunch out, and it took some time, even though he was in jail, but it kept coming and coming and coming. I agree. I think it was
like staggered release dates.
Just a circle of people with nothing better to do. And you see it now. Like, every town has those people. They just stir the pot on social media. How could we not think that maybe they were just stirring the pot back in the day, writing letters?
Right.
Gross. But at the end of the day, if people aren't being dirtbags, they don't have the chaos to stir.
True.
Don't be a dirtbag.
Don't stir the pot.
And don't set booby traps. All right. That's all we got. Can't thank you enough for taking some time out of your busy day. We'll be back next week. You got anything else, Meg?
Nope.
All right. Appreciate you.
Ditto.
We'll be back next week, everybody. This has been the Yore Town Podcast. Bye-bye.
Bye.